So, hey, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.
Sorry, apparently this computer, the browser doesn't allow for recording. So
okay, well, there we go. So now you're all set.
My phone, and that's really awkward, but I'm sorry about that. Jeez.
It's really okay. Like, listen, I have been on Zoom meetings with like incredibly professional people who are totally fucked by this. They're like,
it's like, what do you do?
And I'm like, did you go to Harvard? They're like, yes, but I can't work the Zoom. So whatever.
It's so hard. And I'm like really terrible with technology. And I swear I've been saying that at Mish Initiative for so long. Like, you guys, I'm really trying to keep up, but I'm not tech savvy. But I learned so much with the Mish Initiative. Like doing like spreadsheets and stuff, at least, you know, that I'm like more confident. But then COVID happened and it's like a whole new level of technology that you have to use now. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. And you're my first like actual.
Well, I'll be the guinea pig. I'm fine with that.
So excited. It's been a long time, huh?
Yeah. How's the baby?
He's good. I was gonna say he's sleeping, but he definitely has his eyes open, so we'll see.
We'll see. Well, I have a hard stop at 11:30, so I don't know how much you have to do, but
no, I don't. It doesn't even need to be that long if you don't have a lot of time. I just kind of want to get the ball rolling because I've been saying that I want to do this for months.
Right.
And like, world events keep pushing me toward it, so I'm like, I gotta just do one, and then I'll feel better about it. You know what I mean? And so you are the guinea pig. Thank you for bearing with me. So the general outline for this whole series would be like women's stories of triumphs, traumas, and evolution of their involvement in the music industry. So just based on that, does anything like stand out in your mind? Maybe not traumas. Maybe traumas isn't the best word, but women definitely have a different perspective inside the music scene and a different experience. So how can
You're
you
right.
speak to that?
I can tell you that probably more times than I can count when I have been running a music event or running a festival that I have been asked if I could bring coffee. And I find it interesting, you know, how generally speaking, it's difficult for people to wrap their heads around a woman being in charge of a production or, you know, or just kind of like categorizing us in that leadership role.
Yeah.
And I don't blame people, you know, like I get it. It's, you know, you make assumptions and I do embarrass them intentionally to let them know so that maybe the next time they'll think about it differently. But it's been a long time that the music industry in general has been very much dominated by male leadership. And, you know, women are, you know, of course, more nurturing in terms of like running productions and that kind of thing. So we'll be there to bring you coffee if you need it. We'll also pay you and sign your check. But, you know, it's an evolving situation. I think many people have learned more as they've gone, and I think it's gotten much better. And I found a lot more women in the industry now than I did 10, 15 years ago. You know, when I go to a conference in LA now, the experience I have, you know, at the panels and everything is much different. It used to be all white men. Now oftentimes there are women, people of color, and, you know, it's a much more, you know, eclectic grouping of people at those things. And I think that's the nature of our culture and our society too, right?
Absolutely. It's just a small fragment of what's happening, like generally. Totally.
Yeah. I mean, I think the number of older music executives who are woke to this situation is small. But they are learning too. I mean, I've had experiences, speaking of, traumatic events as a woman in the music industry. I've had managers sit in settlement with me, and in order to manage me through the settlement process and potentially earn a little bit extra for their artists, they've taken the tact of screaming, yelling, humiliating, like literally, in the room. Yeah. I call that kind of the old school way to settle. Very, very much not my style. I'm not a screamer or a yeller. I'm not, I don't behave that way. My culture of my company isn't based on that. And what I have to do is take everything in me and hold my breath, because number one, I don't want to cry, because then I'm like, God damn, I cried, I don't want to cry, because I don't want to leave that, even though like you just screamed at me, like, why wouldn't I cry? Like, you're yelling at me. I'm a human, like, get away. But, but I try really hard not to. And I try also not to explode back, because unfortunately, a man screaming and yelling like that is perceived much differently from a woman yelling and screaming like that. As unfair as that sounds, it is definitely the case. And, and so I try not to scream. I try not to cry, which, like, listen, I wish I had the freedom to scream or cry, but we are held to a higher standard in order to try and get to this next level. So I don't. So instead, I stand up, I take a deep breath, I look at the guy and I say, tell you what, I'll pay you on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm taking off. So, you sit in that, and I won't be working with you. I'll be working with someone else who has the ability to treat me with respect and have a conversation in a professional manner.
Exactly.
And then I walk out, and then I go to my car, and then I cry, and then I drive home.
Maybe I don't think I would be able to make it out without crying, like when I get so mad, and I'm like you, I don't like to like scream back and everything, and I really try not to, but then like it all just dumps out of my eyeballs.
We're human, and we're, and being screamed at evokes an emotional reaction. And, it's a shame that a woman like you or me in this industry tries with all her might not to share that emotion, because it makes us look weak, or it makes us look unprofessional. And, and that's just wrong. And hopefully somewhere down the line, we'll no longer have to deal with that. But for right now, that's what I hold on to. And I have the ability to kind of like control my emotions and take a deep breath and experience my emotion in my time and my space when I don't feel like it's bringing me down. But yeah, so there've been situations like that, but then I've had amazing, wonderful experiences in the industry, working with other women, feeling absolutely, honored and like lifted up by women in the industry. I just was talking with a woman named Sarah, who was in ticketing. She was selling for Ticketfly and Eventbrite, and now she's moved on to a different company. But I've been in touch with her over the years and know her from conferences and that kind of thing. And, and she is one of very few women in the ticketing industry, right? And, we've managed to develop kind of a group of women who get together individually at some of the conferences and call it like our women's group. And there are women vendors, there are women venue owners, there are women, artists who show up, and we all spend the time together to kind of like, hey, touch base, and what are you up to, and how do I help you achieve what you're trying to do, because in this whole thing, if we lift each other up, we're going to be better. And she just reached out to me with this new job that she has, and and I'm going to sit down with her and go through the demo and look at the product. And I wouldn't probably do that except for the fact that we spent the time and we're working together and we're trying to lift each other up. And that's really important.
It really is. It's like there are a lot of women-owned businesses and things, and you know, people tend to buy like big box, but if you take a second to like actually buy from a woman who has put her heart and soul into something, it just means so much more to her in her life probably than you would even imagine, you know, just anything, even, you know, someone sharing the mish for you from like across the world or something would probably still be really meaningful, even though the mish is so well known. Like, I mean, it's really a gem. I feel like everyone across the country knows about the mish or has at least heard about it, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
And
I think there's some worldwide recognition of the Mish, especially with like the Grateful Dead, you know, fan base. They've got, you know, chat talks and, you know, all the message boards where the Mish comes up a lot because it's just a, you know, iconic spot. So I think you're right. Yeah, it does have a lot of reach, you know, as a venue.
yeah.
Not that I'm like totally stuck on this bitch session part of our conversation, Allyce, but just recently someone told me they were at a party with a lot of professional people, and that someone in this discussion group was explaining that I was not actually the owner of the Mish, that I was the person who was put there to be the face of the Mish, and that another professional group of men ran the Mish. I know. And that they were funded by the Bohemian Foundation on top of it. And I was just like,
no, and then it's like pinning you against Pat. Like, why? You know, and I don't know what the dynamics are there, so we don't have to get into that. But
yeah, it's tough. It's, you know, that's an example of, you know, women in an industry, you know, working hard to do things and not necessarily being able to lift you up, you know, like feeling competitive. And, you know, listen, I can't compete with the Bohemian Foundation. Like, if I had billions of dollars, oh my God, I tell you what I would do. But you know, but it's just interesting that people want to believe that it can't possibly be this chick running this place doing a great job. Like, there's got to be somebody up there like pulling some levers, and, you know.
that is annoying.
That was just 2 weeks ago, and it's been 10 years that I've run the Mish.
I don't understand. What is wrong with people? Like, all you have to do is ask the question too. Like, if you have any doubt, like, just, you are a reasonable person and you're pretty open, you know, you probably just be like, hey, do you own the Mish? I do. It's mine.
Poured everything into it. My poor kids' college careers are dumped in the Mish, you know. But and the man who overheard it, I was like, you know, I just want to let you know that I would have never just stood by and listened to that shit. Like, I would have walked up and corrected the group and made sure they understand the truth. I'm like, but you are such a weenie that you just stood there and listened to it and then came and told me later.
There was someone that knew?
Yeah.
What?
And that's who shared it with me. They were like, you'll never believe this. I'm like,
didn't say anything?
I don't believe it. So, you know, but women would not do that. We'd set the record straight.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why? That's not even something to lie about, you know, like, why? Why does it matter who owns it?
Well, they were appalled, but they just were quiet.
Oh. Well.
But anyway, what else did you want to talk about other than me bitching about stuff?
No, I was actually going to ask you how you wound up owning the Mish, because didn't you start out like rehabbing bowling alleys?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the Mishawaka was really a byproduct of the nonprofit that I ran, Spokesbuzz. So Matt and I, you know, way back, started with the bowling alleys. We did music at the bowling alleys, which is what made me recognize what an incredibly rich music industry we have here. Not industry, musicians, really deep mix of musicians, eclectic and far-reaching, and, you know, many genres. And when I first moved here from Denver, I was pretty sure that this was going to be the most white bread, like, non-cultural area. And I wasn't expecting to find as much great local music as I did when we opened up the stage here and I'm at Chippers College Center right now, and this was the stage we started, you know, 16 years ago. And so when I found all the art that was available and all the artists that were here in our community, and then I launched the nonprofit, I needed platforms for the artists that were in the incubator to play. So they would play at Shippers, and we would play at Hodie's, and we would play, and I did events up at the Mishawaka. And every time I did an event at the Mishawaka, which I would showcase the bands in the incubator, and I was just like, this place could be so much better, And I talked with Robin, who was the owner at the time, and I'm like, listen, if you are ever trying to get out from under this place, if you're ever interested in selling, please come to me. I will figure out a way to buy it, because I promise you I will take good care of it. And so when he got into some trouble financially, he did let me know immediately that he was looking to get out. And I ended up, after a series of negotiations with other players involved, ending up being the last business person at the table. Mm-hmm. And then actually ended up buying it. And I didn't buy it from Robin, who was the operator. He owed a lot of money to a guy in town named Wayne Schrader. He owns Schrader Oil. Okay. And I don't know what their businesses were and why Robin owed him money. I think it had to do with some property in the canyon that Robin sold him or whatever. So anyway, Wayne Schrader was owed a bunch of money. And when Robin lost control of the Mish to the feds because he got in big trouble, the feds were going to seize the Mish and give it to the Forest Service and make it a boat ramp, because no one in the community wanted the Mish to be there anyway, right? It was a mess. It was a problem child. People got hurt. People wandered around in people's backyards peeing and like camping on private property. It was like a mayhem. It was mayhem. But, because Wayne was owed that money, he was able to, with his lawyers, negotiate to get that property put in his name, and then forgave the loan. Nice. And then turned around and sold the property to me.
But then he was still open to it, even though it was your deal with Robin. That's nice.
Robin didn't have a choice after a certain moment. But Wayne was very, very good to Robin in the whole deal. And I think even though he didn't have to, I think Wayne actually gave him some of the proceeds from the sale. So Wayne's a really, really good man. And Robin was a lucky man his whole life. Yeah. So I think that's how that played out. But Robin actually, he was incarcerated and put in jail after that for quite some time. He is no longer in jail, and he's done some dabbling in the music industry since, but not much. So.
Okay. Is he still in the area?
I don't know that. He used to live up in Stove Prairie. As of like a few years ago, I think he still did. So, but when I took over, he came to me, bye Red. He came to me and said, I tell you what, this is another great example for you. He's like, tell you what, you just make sure that the restaurant's running, and I'll book all the music for you. You don't have to worry, and I'll find the artists, and I'll do the production, and I'm sure you're really scared about that, and I'll just handle it all for you, and we'll just say it's you. I was like, no, thank you. I think I'll run the production. I think I'll hire the artists. Like, I think I can do it. And he was so floored. He really just thought, I think he thought if he sold it to me, I wouldn't be able to manage it.
Yeah.
So he was like,
I've never seen this place with your guidance.
Like, please, sir, will you help me figure out how to do this? I'm so confused. I don't know. Me.
I need some help.
I need a little help. It was like, I'm not a damsel in distress. Like, I got it. Like, don't worry.
Right.
But he was floored. He was so pissed. He was like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, surprise, I bought this place and I'm going to run it. Like, I don't know why you would expect anything different from another buyer.
And under his, leadership, the feds were trying to seize it. Like, why? Come on, you really thought you were going to stay?
He figured this is perfect. I'll sell it to this chick who doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. And that, sorry, bleep. And then, and then I'll get to run the Mish still. So he thought it was like a brilliant plan.
I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
As it turns out, we did okay. So.
Yeah. How's everything now? Because I haven't been up there in hiatus for the season, kind of. So what is it still holding up pretty well. I saw
With the COVID stuff has been real hard. So but the restaurant's doing very well because we have so much space. Now, come time, we're going to be challenged a little more.
Right.
But for right now, we're doing okay with the restaurant. The music production side is a little difficult because it's not financially feasible as it is at 12% capacity, which is the number of people that we can have. We have 128 seats for shows. And with the cost of production at the Mish, it just doesn't make any sense. But I was able to finagle a bunch of sponsorship money this summer from very good and kind local businesses who really are doing it because they love music. And that's helping subsidize the cost. And then I am losing quite a bit of money every show, but for me, I think it actually is like a payment towards our future, and it's a marketing expense, and we got to keep our people working. So it's worth it. And we'll see some losses this summer. I just hope beyond anything that comes spring 2021 that we're able to reopen with normal concerts. If we can't, we'll figure it out. But I don't believe I'll be able to get the sponsorship again next summer.
Right.
If we're not back in business. So
I'm glad you guys have the little shows, but it's so hard when you're losing money on it. It's just like, it's a balance of the people need it too. Like you're doing just as much for like community, like morale as you are for, the Mish community.
And we're doing free music on Sundays, so trying to keep things equitable. And then we're doing full productions, which are, much smaller capacity and are selling out very quickly. And I'm sure not everybody who wants to see music is able to get there, which is a bummer. But we'll be doing music at the bowling centers this winter, I think, and we'll be doing, real band, not that the other bands weren't real, but we're doing more touring bands and more, regionally recognized bands at Chipper's locations this winter, because there's going to be it's going to be a desert, a music desert.
Well, we lost Hody's, right? So
we lost Hody's. Dan Mladnick, the owner of Hody's, is the new GM at Mishawaka. So he is still working in the music industry. He and I
booking right now, right?
He's doing all the booking right now. I think he'll be doing the booking going forward because we'll have to keep everything in-house. We don't have the luxury of using a lot of vendors for things right now. So
I feel like that's really nice to take it back to like grassroots for a little bit. I know it's not good for the pocket, but it like I said, it's good for the community, I guess, right now.
And nothing makes me happier than to see Dan not lose his opportunity to work in the music industry. And so I'll be doing some stepping aside of some of my role in order to provide him with that position. I've been actually really, really active politically right now. I'm working on a national organization called REVS, which is Reopen Every Venue Safely. And we're working with like 11 cities across the country trying to develop pragmatic plans for cities to open up, in conjunction with the municipalities and the health department and the venues, and trying to ensure that there's funding available. So I'm working on that. I work with, in conjunction with NEVA, which is the National Independent Venue Association. So together we're working on a lot of initiatives. I'm doing it more from a city by city, Los Angeles, Cleveland, Portland, Seattle, Louisville, Denver is one of our pilot cities, and there's a few others, but trying to kind of create the program that will sustain music. And then NEVA's got the federal, objective of getting the funding into the hands of the cities. So
that's amazing. You'll have to send me all the links for that stuff so that our viewers can like contribute or help in any way they can. I don't know if
that's a great idea. I will do that. So
we care too, you know, like we're the people who created, I'll show you the baby really quick.
yay! Hi. Hi, beautiful. Oh my goodness, Allyce. Look at that smiley. Oh, look at that. This is here, I'll show you my baby.
Yes. Oh, hi, baby. Oh, look at those little paws. Oh my goodness. So cute. Wait, yeah, is that a puppy or is it an adult? Is a puppy not a
My COVID puppy.
Perfect. That's amazing. What's her name? His name?
Her name is Isabel.
Isabel. Cute.
Yep.
I love it. Perfect. You're running. I don't know what time it is.
I am out of time, and I think that was. I need to go, but I will send you this recording. I'll send you a bunch of links. You let me know what else you might need. And
you're a busy lady.
Great to
Thank
see
you so much.
Thanks for your interest. Okay.
Of course, always. Thank you.